very good evening to South Africa, those watching around the world. My name is Blaine Herman. It's Topical, albeit a little late. We are trying to break down the contents of the MK Party's media briefing in a short while. We'll also get you some reactions, so stay tuned for that. Our digital audience with us tonight, welcome to them. Looking forward to their input during the night, and as we shine the spotlight also on the youth of this country, both past and present, right? The youth of 1976, they had their own set of challenges. Today, youths, they're currently facing new struggles in their quest to lead lives of dignity and in the pursuit of better. How will the events of the past couple of days, as well as the days to come, shape their future? The first sittings of the National Assembly, done and dusted. Cyril Ramaphosa, re-elected as president. He will be inaugurated this week. Talk of this government of national unity, signaling an era of a more concerted effort to set aside political differences and find avenues of opportunity that will benefit the people of this country. That's what we're told it's all about, right? In practical terms, will it work? Will it benefit you and your family? Former President Jacob Zuma thinks it's meaningless. We will discuss. It brings us to the question of the week, and we're asking you, what are your hopes and expectations of the 7th administration? Let us know at It's Topical SABC. I want to go straight into our discussions. Slightly different show today. I want to introduce my guests. We have in studio Mkobi Msebenzane, MK Youth Leader. He joins us in studio. We also have on Teams Kholatle Khabo, ANC Youth League National Executive Committee member and Member of Parliament. We also have Karabo Khakao, a DA MP, and from the EFF, we're hoping to be joined by Mandla Shikwambana. We have also identified, or invited rather, the DA and ANC as well as EFF to be in the studio. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it in studio, but good to have you guys with us. Let me, before I come to Mkobi, I want to just get reaction from, let's start with Karabo, with regards to what we've just heard, the MK Party going to court, unhappy with the election results, possibly, if it goes their way, could have a rerun. What's your reaction?
Look, the IEC has been very clear. Before I give a response, good evening to yourself, good evening to my co-panelists, and good evening to all our viewers. The IEC has been very clear that the elections have been run in a fair manner. And all political parties, majority of the political parties, including my own, has also supported this, to say that we are happy with the outcome of the elections. But we are also not shocked that the MK Party would want to take the position they are taking, because we have seen, even in times when the leader of the MK Party, whoever the leader is, in this case, let's assume it's President Zuma, in his years of government of this country, he himself has been a person who did not have any respect for the rule of law, did not have respect for the oath of office, did not have respect for the people of South Africa. So it is not shocking to see how he would react to the wills of the people, as far as what they want their government to look like, as far as their votes are concerned. And we're also not shocked that he himself would blatantly want to undermine the foundations of our democracy, being the will of the people and the outcomes of their votes. So this is not shocking altogether.
Kholatle, let me bring you into this conversation. A lot has been said about the government of Cyril Ramaphosa, also hitting out at the media as well for selling this idea of a government of national unity. Your reaction to what you just heard?
No, most definitely. Before getting into my point, let me firstly greet you and greet my fellow panelists and also the listeners. But going straight to the point that you have raised, you would understand that the African National Congress is a revolutionary movement, is the one that has fought for this country to enter into a democratic country, to a democratic space. For us to have a democratic state that will embrace all values that are related to democracy. And from where we are sitting as the ANC clique and the ANC in particular, it was very much important for us to bring around the narrative of bringing all political parties together on and around the table to discuss all issues that are affecting our people. We had to do that, most importantly, having realized and accepted the results of the elections. And I think mostly what we need to accept is that the people of South Africa, through their votes, have said to us that we need to bring all political parties together We need to find a way of working together. We need to find a way of bringing the interest of our people together in bettering their lives. That's why we are saying that we are embracing this move, we are accepting the results of the elections, and we are intending to work with every political party as a way of entrenching our constitutional democracy. It cannot be us as a country who want to speak of constitutional democracy and yet again, after the necessary process of elections where people are allowed to voice their grievances or challenges, then want to oppose that. So we endorse it irrespective of what people want to term it around. But the reality of the matter is that the African National Congress has invited all political parties to come around the table and discuss what is best for South Africa. And we're intending to remain the leader of the society and lead it properly. Thank you very much.
I would have loved to get the EFF's reaction. I don't see Mandla here. If he is here, please, control, bring him up, and then we'll get his reaction. But then let's go to Ngobi with regards to the MK party.
I'm here.
Are you here, Mandla?
Yes.
All right, go on. Let's get your reaction before we bring in Ngobi. Mandla, just a recap of the question with regards to what we've just heard over the last hour or so. Yes. Going to court, the MK party going to court and challenging whether the elections were free and fair. Your reaction to that?
No, you were a little bit cutting when you started. I just caught your question late, but I actually predict that you're asking with regard to the question of the MK taking the elections to court, challenging the outcome of the results. So each and every political party, they've got their own right to go to any court of the law and challenge whatever they think they need to challenge if they're not satisfied. So I think the MK, they are within their own rights to go and make sure that they satisfy themselves and challenge whatever outcomes that they are not satisfied with. So I'm not actually worried about what they are actually challenging, because we have seen also on the ground that the way a lot of mistakes committed by the IEC. So if the MK says they are challenging the outcome of the result, let them challenge the outcome. Is within their right. There's nothing wrong about that. We are in a democratic state, so everyone should actually exercise their democratic right.
Ngobi, you have a right to do something. The question then becomes, is it the right thing to do, given this current state of play, the political state of play in South Africa? Pull back the curtain for us. What we've heard over the last hour or so, and the confidence that the MK party has in taking this and pursuing this case. You think you have enough evidence to support this?
No, thank you very much, my brother and my fellow panelists that are joining us virtually. Look, I'd never get that. Karabo is representing which organization? The Democratic Alliance. No, I'm not surprised. Look, there's a process in any election where if you are dissatisfied with the outcome or the processes of the election, you get to dispute the election process or the voting process or the outcomes of the elections. The MK party followed that process of disputing the results or the voting process as well. The IEC deliberately did not deal with the disputes of the MK party, right? We then sent the evidence to the IEC for them to actually consider our disputes. They still went on to declare the elections free and fair, right? So we are very confident that, obviously, we understand that the systems are not in our favor. We understand very much that the commissioner of the IEC is appointed by the president, right? The Chief Justice himself is appointed by the president. So we're not very surprised as to seeing all this biasness when it comes to the MK party. But the MK party is still following the democratic process of attending to these issues by going the right route of court. We've been painted by all type of names and all type of things to ensure that in the public domain we appear as an organization that is full of hooligans and is full of violence and all of those things that are being painted by the media and everywhere else. But we're still following the democratic process of attending to these matters.
At a national level, your members are yet to be sworn in. I know in provincial level they have been. Have you canvassed views among your constituency in order to take this route? I wonder about the millions of people that have voted for you now,
Sure.
whether it's a disservice to them, or are they saying, okay, there's a party that is standing on principle and furthering the cause through that means?
Look, our people, a majority of South Africans that we interact with on a daily basis, every day, they are very, very dissatisfied with the outcome. One, there were a lot of people that were not allowed to vote because there was a gazetted policy that was gazetted, I think, a day before, if I'm not mistaken, that you could only vote where you were registered to vote, not even at national level. You can't even vote for a national ballot. So there are many people that were excluded from the voting process. But those that actually voted, they were very dissatisfied with the results and the outcomes, because they know that they devoted their votes and their time into voting for the MK party. They intended on seeing positive change, and they chose the MK party as the solution. Right now, we have an organization like the ANC who has been rejected by the majority of this country, and they're now imposing themselves through the. By the way, the DA is something, or an organization that we regard as an extension of the National Party by the manner in which it does things. But I can even think elaborate on that aspect. On the 11th of this week, we had a debate at the DUT in Durban. There was a representative from the DA. She submitted that the DA says all policies that are, they term them as race biased, and she mentioned the BEE. Now, how then do you say the policies that are supposed to ensure that there's equality in this very unequal society, in unequal country, then policies that are dealing with that inequality, you then say they must be scrapped. All policies that are race biased must be scrapped. That is the DA. Because
let's get Karabo's response. So Karabo, come in, and then we'll go to Khalatle. Karabo, to you first.
Look here, if you want to address injustice and you want to develop a nation, you use disadvantage as a metric. You do not use race as a metric, because I, Karabo Lerato, am a black woman, and if you're using race as a metric for measurements of qualification, as an NP, I also get to qualify versus another girl from my hood who does not have the economic participation and emancipation that I have. But if you use disadvantage as a metric for qualification, then she gets to qualify. Ntabi saying Ulane, Libo Tabanka Fela get to benefit because they have disadvantage. But if I, as Karabo, can just tap into the same pool of benefit, then then it defeats the whole purpose of wanting to emancipate a nation, wanting to develop it, and making sure that as many people as possible who have been previously disadvantaged get to benefit from the programs of the state. And that is as basic as that. And that's what we are saying with scrapping the racial tone of BEE, but using disadvantage and need as a qualifier. Full stop. And I don't see how anybody in their logic mind would want to disagree with that, unless actually what the ANC or what the MK, pardon me, what the MK would want to probably say is that they are satisfied with having just a pool of connected elites and cadres who have misused BEE in the past, being the only people who get to benefit from BEE and not the people who should actually benefit from BEE. That's what we're saying. We're unashamed.
Khalatle?
Look, reality of the matter is that, like I said, the ANC is a revolutionary movement. There's no way that it will stand on the or counterpost where the people want to stand. And where the people want to stand is a country that is informed by democracy and is prosperous in its own development. But be it as it may be, the policies that we are currently having in government, we believe that those are policies that represent the type of society we would like to build. And the nitty-gritties that are being brought before in terms of the implementation of such policies, it's a discussion for another matter. But nobody in South Africa, including Karabo from the Democratic Allies, I don't think she'll agree with me when she says that the BEE is a right decision. I don't think she'll dispute the fact that when you say that we can't deal away with affirmative action, because the reality of the matter is that the reports are there, and the reports and science are there to indicate that these policies are actually working, and these policies are relevant in this current phase. So the issue of the implementation of the BEE or scrapping of those policies, it's a discussion for another day. But as things stand, the reality of the matter is that was not stuck in the past. We can no longer play that race card of saying that others are black, others are white, in terms of dealing with certain nitty-gritties. But we should be actually dealing with facts that are informed by reports, that are informed by proper surveys and scientific analysis. And part of the scientific analysis is saying that, I mean, the recent report of Stats SA, the first quarter of 2024, it's indicating us that the majority of young people are unemployed. We should be preoccupied about policies that are intending to deal away with unemployment. As to us playing the card of these ones are black, these ones are white, that is where we are not interested as the African National Congress. We are a leader of society, and we are going to lead the society based on the demographics of this society. And part of the demographics are indicating that the majority of our people are blacks in particular. And the policies must be able to demonstrate that biasness. And we are not also apologetic in that position that we have taken. Thank you very much.
Well, let's bring in our digital audience now. Utando, let's talk to you. Policy, important, especially when we're grappling with the big issues affecting youth, and youth day we're talking about it. The youth vulnerable in terms of the labor market, youth unemployment sitting at over 45%. You're listening to all of this talk now with regards to how free and fair the election was, given the current challenges that we face. How are you as an ordinary South African processing all of this?
Thanks for the opportunity, everyone. Thanks for that, Blaine. In regards to the youth unemployment, well, even speaking for myself, I am not employed in the career that I actually studied for, so I just want to put that out there. And it is understanding that we're all focused on that because that has always been the main issue in the recent years regarding the youth unemployment rate. As for having the elections again, I do see where political parties such as the MK are coming from. If we had done the elections again at that time, during that week, when it was conducted, it would have just sorted out most things, to be honest, because that's when it was such an exhausting experience. There were so many things happening. And if the ANC and the DA and any other political party was confident in the numbers that they received, then we wouldn't be having a problem right now. They should have just agreed to it.
Utando,
however,
we do apologize. I have to cut you. I'm being told that your sound is not that good. But I think we got the gist with regards to that. Let's take Molatelo. Molatelo.
Good evening, Blaine. Good evening, Blaine, and to the panelists and also my fellow audience. I think one of the biggest problems that I have now is that whereas these people are busy throwing each other with a live snake, we on the ground are suffering. The people are suffering. People don't have water. They don't have electricity. The infrastructure is damaged. And now you get people still sitting and wanting to debate policy, whereas unemployment is so high and the crime is so high. So for me, because also I was part of the independent observers for the elections, to have a rerun of the elections is going to be a very costly exercise, number one. Number two, it's how are we going to rebuild our economy on the backbone of political parties sitting on total opposite sides of the political spectrum, and whereas we should have been, working towards redressing everything that has happened in the past so that we can move forward as a country. Because at this moment in time, what we're seeing is that politicians are now battling for power and they're battling for positions. They don't really care what's happening on the ground. And for me, it's the biggest problem that we're facing right now, that people are rather fighting for positions than service delivery. If you listen to what these politicians are saying, all of them are looking for these key positions in cabinet so that they can benefit and their people can benefit. However, no one is saying, no, you know what, I want the water and sanitation department so that they can take care of the basic needs of the people. So for me, I think those are things that need really to be addressed, as opposed to just sitting with people and saying, no, but you want this, you want that. I think we need to really look at the people who are suffering on the ground. We need to really look at, people who don't have jobs, people who are suffering in crime.
Right.
The things that we need to look at. Thanks.
All right. Due to the shortened program that we have, we thank you very much indeed for your time. Unfortunately, we've run out of time now, but the conversations will continue as the hours and days progress until the inauguration. We'll see what happens with regards to the case before the Electoral Court from the MK party. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for coming through as well. All right. Before we go, here's my take. What a week it has been, right? Developments on many fronts. So before we forget, happy Father's Day to those who are lucky enough to have children, biological or not. Those dads who turn up and try, who work every day to bring light and love to those who look for some sort of solace and guidance. It also gets me thinking about those who now sit in the National Assembly, right? Different story, but there's a nucleus of fact that is familiar. They too need to turn up and try, bring light and love, and to offer a measure of solace and guidance through difficult times we face as a nation. And like many fathers tonight, they too might be contemplating in one way or another about this overriding sense of purpose, how to lead by example, not advice, how to remain steadfast and resilient in moments of despair. It won't be easy, but you signed up for it. So let's get to work for the betterment of our children and this nation at large. And that's my take. Until next week, my brothers and sisters, take care. Bye-bye.